Hi, everyone. Good morning. Hi, ladies. Good morning. Happy Friday. Good to see you again on the call. Please let me know if you can hear me and if you can see me in the comments section. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning and welcome to today's soft skill class. I'm so glad to be speaking to you today. I've missed you guys so much. We haven't spoken in a while. Um, Great. So as you may have already noticed, we decided to split the class today. If this is going to change, we'll let you know, okay? Some people are on Zoom right now streaming, while we have some people who are the class leaders on Zoom, on Zoom, okay? So don't worry, you're not going to be left out in any of the process and feedback in the comments. You're not going to be left out, okay? But I need to confirm that. Please confirm that everyone on YouTube can hear me. Yinka, I'm going to need you to give me feedback from YouTube. Awesome. People on YouTube can hear us. People on Zoom can hear us. Perfect. So how was your week? How was your technical session this week? Let's see your feedback in the comment section. How was your training this week? How's your journey to becoming a Techsters going? It was great. Thank you, Priscilla. It was great. I'm glad it's going great. It was amazing and stressful. Christina, thank you so much for the feedback. It's expected. I can't promise you that it's going to get better or easier, but it's part of your training experience. Don't worry, when you become a Techsters and you start earning that plenty money, it will be worth it. It's been progressive, great. That is what we expect. You're not going to learn everything in one day. Progress is great. Progress is perfect. Inspiring, great. Thank you so much for the feedback. And also let me use this opportunity to, apologize again for the hitches we had last week. I know most people had left the call last week when we provided feedback. Our facilitator had a lot of hitches in the session, and that made us stay here way longer than 12 noon. And I know that affected your comprehension in the class. Don't worry, this week is going to be better. We've taken your feedback. Everything will be better subsequently. Also, we promise that you're going to have a lot more time for your assessments today, your pre-assessment. So we're going to put out the pre-assessment question here on Zoom and on YouTube. Tommy Day, please share the pre-assessment questions. Don't worry, ladies. There are no right or wrong answers, okay? So don't beat yourself about it. Just fill out the question based on the information you have, okay? We'll take a few minutes as usual to assign the pre-assessment form to you. So you can start filling it out. Tomide, please share the form with the link, the correct title. Please share the form with the correct title so everybody sees that. It needs to say pre-assessment form and work ethics. And please, as usual, let us know as soon as you fill out the form. As soon as you fill out the form, please let us see done, so we can move on and start the session right on time. So we've shared the form now on Zoom. I can confirm we've shared it on Zoom. Yinka will share the form to the audience on YouTube. Please, let's get your feedback as soon as you fill out the form. Don't worry, we're not going to waste time today. In fact, our facilitator is already on the call. So we are going to keep to time today. Today will be very, very interactive. I promise you that. So let's see your comments. If you've filled out the pre-assessment form, I need to see your comments. This will take a bit longer than usual, so you should be able to fill out the form within 5 to 10 minutes. Okay? Within 5 to 10 minutes, so we're giving you some more time to fill out the form. If you're having any challenge accessing the form, this would be a great time to communicate that. Okay? We have, please resend the form. Great. Please check the comment section. The form link isn't loading, okay? We're going to check that. The form link isn't loading. We'll check that real quick. Tomide, make sure that the form can accept responses from all accounts, not restricted to Tech for Dev accounts, just in case people are filling out the form with other emails, so that we can move on. Okay, guys, please try out the form again. Anyone can respond now. We've made it possible for anyone to respond. Okay, I can see a few responses coming in on the form. Perfect. Thank you, Priscilla. Berkeley, you're the first to fill out the form today. Great. The link, I've shared the link again. It says pre-assessment form _ work ethics. Helen, I just shared the link again. Yinka, please share the form on YouTube. I've sent the form to you. Please share it on YouTube. We are waiting for the form on YouTube. Okay, a few more responses are coming in. Thanks, ladies. Yinka, please confirm that you've shared the link on YouTube.
Yes, the link has been shared.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. On YouTube, please make sure you check. Okay, I see a few done here. We have about 7 more minutes for the forms to be filled. Okay, I see Dawn. Dawn, thank you so much. Dawn. Great. Great. Thank you so much. Let's give some more time. Mary Ojo, how many times do you need the link to be shared before you can see it, please? Okay. The link has been shared again. Mary, I just shared the link, pre-assessment form _ work ethics. Please take your time to fill out the form. We have 6 minutes to go on the form. Okay, I can see more people filling the form. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Remember, we had said that once the class starts, we will not be able to leave the form open because we need to test your knowledge of what you're going to be learning. The responses are still low. The responses are still low. Okay, we might have to give you more time, especially for the people on YouTube. I see we're having a bit of a challenge on YouTube, but don't worry, give you more time. We'll give you more time, okay? We're sharing the form. If you can, please share this to the leaders on the group. If you can, please share the link with those on YouTube or those in your, those on YouTube preferably, so that we can get started. Okay, for those on YouTube, please check the pin. The link has been pinned on YouTube. For those on YouTube, please check the pin message. You'll be able to see the link there. So we don't have to share it over and over again. I need the numbers to go up. Ifoma, welcome. The form has been reshared. I hope you can see it. Ifoma Ugu, I've reshared the form. It's absolutely important that you all fill out this form. The responses, okay? Responses are coming in. Perfect. Yinka, can you confirm if there are any other challenges with the fellows on YouTube? Any relevant comments, any challenge that we should look out for?
No, the form is working. I don't know why some people are saying it's not opening, but most people are saying that they filled
Okay,
the form. So
okay,
I'm telling them to
okay,
try using a different browser.
okay, perfect. Thank you very much. The responses are coming up, and we'll leave the form open until 10:20 a.m. West African time. So everyone, the form will remain open for another 5 minutes. So it's no longer going to be 10:15 deadline. We're going to work with 10:20 a.m. deadline. So we have 20 minutes now to fill out the form. The responses are coming in droves. Thank you so much for your feedback. This is very, very helpful. Again, ladies, 20 minutes, okay? We have another 7 minutes to fill out the form. This is priority. Please do that first. Do that now. No good morning, no good afternoon, no how are you doing. Fill out the form first, okay? Okay, great, 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 great. It's not opening at my end. Henrietta, what browser are you using? Please change your browser. Please change your browser, try a different browser, so that we can ensure that you are able to take this assessment, because this is very important. Perfect. We have 173 responses so far. Great. 79. We're moving. 184. Perfect. Please send in your responses. I know we have over 500 people already on the call, so there's a lot more responses that need to come in. So like I said earlier, our facilitator is already here. I'm excited about this session. Facilitator will be coming up real soon. So I will go ahead and read out his profile before he comes up. So please, ladies, we had already promised you that today is going to be an amazing session. We need you to be attentive, keep your questions coming, use the Q&A box for those on Zoom, and then for everyone else on YouTube, just put your questions there, we'll collate it and communicate it, make sure we don't miss out any of your questions, okay? So without wasting any more time, I will go ahead and read the profile of our facilitator, who is already on the call, like I mentioned. We have the honor of hosting Mr. Ademola Adeusi today. He'll be delivering, he'll be talking to us on work ethics. So Mr. Ademola is a human resources professional with over 12 years of experience in the FMCG, consulting, information technology, and banking in managing various aspects of the HR value chain to maximize employee ROI and productivity. He holds a first degree in business studies, an MBA, and a senior human resources certification. He currently works with Wema Bank as a head HR and senior HRBP for the corporate and South Bank business to drive the people agenda aligned to the strategy of the bank. Ladies, please let's make welcome Mr. Ademola Adewusi, who is our guest facilitator for today. Good morning, Ademola. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Noka, for that wonderful introduction. My humble self. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, friends. Good morning, professionals. It's my pleasure to be in our midst this morning to discuss work ethics. And lest I forget, Noka has hinted me that we have ladies across different African countries this morning. So whatever your time zone is, it's morning here in Nigeria. We are about 10:16 a.m. now. But whatever your time zone is, wherever you are, it's my pleasure to be with us this morning. And I want to say well done, ladies, well done, professionals, for the hard work, for the dedication, for going on this learning course towards becoming the professionals that we are. I would share my screen in few seconds and we would go right into the topic. Just a moment. Okay, that should be coming up in few seconds. Yes. So this morning, ladies, this morning, professionals, we're here to discuss work ethics as one of the essential ingredients towards success, towards being that professional that we are. But when we think about it again, why are we even discussing work ethic? Is having a good work ethic really as important for the workplace, even outside of the workplace? Is having this work ethic really important? Can't we just work at our own pace and expect things to fall in place? Well, ladies, the truth is a good work ethic is one of the distinguishing factors for successful professionals and for successful leaders today. Having a good work ethic really does matter if we want that exponential growth to success in our different chosen career path. So in our journey together, about 1 hour, 30 minutes or thereabout this morning, discussing work ethic, we'll be discussing 4 areas, professionals, as it relates to work ethic. We'll be looking at punctuality, reliability, professionalism, and discipline. These are the 4 different areas we will touch this morning while having some sort of conversations together, having this engagement together as we walk on this journey together towards building a good work ethic. And I'm pretty sure that whatever we're going to be discussing this morning will definitely sound as reminders to us professionals on what we need to do towards building a successful career. So at the end of our conversation, at the end of our 1 hour, 30 minutes thereabout session this morning, we should be able to understand the concept of work ethic and why it is important for us as professionals. We would punctuality, we'll define what punctuality means and its importance towards productivity in the workplace. We would also be looking at reliability and importance in building trust with clients and colleagues. Let's hold on to that point, ladies, building trust with clients and colleagues, how reliability helps us to achieve that. We would also understand the role of professionalism in good work ethic. And finally, today, we would also understand how discipline of execution leads to better time management and productivity. So ladies, let's sit tight. It is going to be a jolly good ride with us this morning. But before we go right into it, I want us to do a little bit of work. I want us to exercise our hands, bring out our pens, and jot out some things, ladies. If you see my slide, you would see the topic of consideration this morning, work ethic, right there in the middle. And surrounding that topic, work ethic, we'll see other words written in smaller fonts. Can we just take about 2 minutes to identify some of the other words related to work ethic we can identify on the slide here? This is just to keep us engaged and set us in the right tone for today's class, ladies. So let's take 2 minutes to just identify words from what we can see on the slide here. Let's not go outside of what we see on the slide as it relates to work ethic. This is 1021. Noka, just 5 words related to work ethic would go right into it at about 1023, 1024. So I'll pause here for now while our professionals jot down 5 words relating to work ethic as shown on the slide. Thank you. You can also chat your responses to me. I would love to see those responses. Thank you. I see them coming in now. Thank you so much. Responsibility, dedication, diligence. Fantastic. Honesty. The pace at which the responses are coming in very fast. Thank you so much, professionals. Culture. I see dedication again. I see integrity. I see attitude, productivity. Fantastic. Awesome stuff here this morning. I like the atmosphere in the room. I like this vibe. Reliability, discipline, motivation, justice. Fantastic. Thank you so much, professionals. So I think this is good. That came in faster than I expected, and I definitely do appreciate the energy. It seems we're all fired up to do this. Fantastic, great stuff. So let's go right into it. Don't forget, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be looking at 4 areas this morning as it concerns work ethic, and one of the first area we're going to be looking at this morning is as it concerns, just a minute now, as it concerns punctuality. I'm sure a lot of us would have come across this word punctuality. And as you can see on this slide, a lot of us relate punctuality to being to timeliness. It is not far-fetched that is what punctuality means. But let's dig in further to actually even understand what punctuality means and how it relates to our journey towards building a successful work ethic. Now, punctuality to a layman would mean arriving or doing something at the expected or scheduled time. Definitely yes. So punctuality relates to arriving on time. It relates to business-mindedness, the ability to stick to deadlines, the ability to stick to appointments. It is respect for your time and people's time. There's a saying that time is money. Definitely, time is money. So punctuality is the soul of the business. You would also see I intentionally highlighted some words in red here. Punctuality is the soul of business. There's something that is called speed to market. And we use the concept speed to market because there are so many competitors vying for the same market, selling the same product within the same market. And if an organization doesn't have that mentality, that mindset of speed to market, they may spend hours ideating, hours brainstorming, and before they know it, the competitors has released or launched a particular product and left them behind. So punctuality is actually the soul of business, and that's why we say time is money. Now, punctuality is the ability to be prompt. It is the ability to attend appointments on time and submit your assignments by the deadline. There are so many deliverables we have. What is the timeline given to us to turn in those deliverables? What is the discipline of execution we have when it comes to punctuality? What is our time management skills? We would see soon how we can build the required time management skills when it comes to punctuality. But this is just to set the momentum towards helping us understand that when it comes to work ethic, punctuality is a critical ingredient, is a critical factor towards building a good work ethic. Now, as you would see on this slide, there are two different areas. We're going to be looking at the importance of punctuality at the workplace, and we're also going to be looking at the impact of punctuality when it comes to productivity and the team morale. Now, looking at the importance of punctuality, I mentioned earlier that it leads to productivity. How does punctuality does this? Punctuality contributes to a more productive work environment because it ensures that meetings and tasks start on time and they actually run smoothly. There's a saying that your own output is another person's input. Now, let's think about it. If your output at work is another person's input and your own output is delayed, it goes without saying that the input that leads to another process within the business environment is also delayed, and that could lead to project scope creep, delayed deliverables, and also impacts and affects productivity as well. What about reputation? Punctual employees tend to have a positive reputation within the which can lead to better opportunities and also help to fast track their career growth. Professionalism is also what punctuality helps to build, although we would see professionalism as a single factor when it comes to building a successful work ethic. But when we're punctual, it also helps us build our professionalism. Punctuality is a sign of professionalism, and it demonstrates your commitment to your job. It demonstrates your commitment and respect for your colleagues and superiors. What about reliability? Being on time consistently makes you a reliable team member, which is essential for building trust and also essential for building high performance teams. Time management is also an essential ingredient that punctuality helps us build. Punctual individuals tend to be better at managing their time efficiently, which can improve productivity and also improve the work quality. Now, having known some of the importance of punctuality, what impacts does punctuality actually even have on productivity and the morale of the team? Now, let's talk about task completion. When we're on time for meetings, when we deliver deliverables on time, we meet deadlines, it helps ensure that projects run smoothly without the scope creep, like I mentioned earlier. And whatever projects were dedicated or assigned to do, those projects are completed on time. And when projects are completed right on time, it leads to successful delivery and execution of whatever products or whatever activities or whatever services we want to deliver for our customers. Reduced delays is also another impact that punctuality helps to build. Punctuality helps in reducing delays that can hinder workflow, allowing for more consistent and uninterrupted work. Punctuality also enhances collaboration. It builds trust among team members as they can rely on each other to be on time for collaborative work and for collaborative efforts. When you're punctual, it enhances collaboration. It builds that mentality of hunting as a pack. Other of your colleague members can trust in you. They have that full trust and confidence that employee A, Jennifer, Noka, or Patience is going to deliver his task as that particular time he has said he will deliver it, and that wouldn't affect whatever deliverables we have agreed and the deadlines we have agreed together with the business. And that also dovetails seamlessly into meeting deadlines and having that sort of mindset that we also always want to be successful at all times. And there's something particularly here that I find interesting when it comes to one of the impacts that punctuality helps us build, and that is positive model. Positive role modeling. I'm sure a lot of us in class this morning, a lot of us in the house this morning have some specific role models we look up to. And the reason we look up to those role models is because there are specific qualities we see in these role models that we want to imitate. There are specific things these role models do that we feel that if we imitate some of these qualities, it helps us develop in our own lives, it helps us develop our careers, and it makes us successful individuals. Now, when we're punctual, other people also look up to us. Our colleagues also look up to us that Jennifer says he's going to do this. You can trust that Jennifer is going to do this at that particular time. And when we know that other people are looking up to us, it's built that sense of accomplishment within us. There's that sense of I feel I'm doing what is right. There's that sense of accomplishment that we have, knowing that we're leading others in the right way, we're showing that positive, we're giving that positive quality that other people can actually look up to when it comes to being punctual. And we'll actually even be happy with ourselves that punctuality is helping us deliver on our deliverables, and we're delivering quality work that is also assisting other people to achieve their maximum potential. Now, moving quickly away from putting this slide here to get us thinking and to perhaps add some sort of fun into what we're looking at this morning. And what we're looking at on this slide is tying back to time management, avoiding procrastination, being punctual. And now it says that if you have to eat a frog, be sure you don't stare at it too long. Think about it. You have to eat a frog. Do we know how slimy a frog can actually be? And someone puts a gun on our head, or it's a must do for us to eat that frog. For us to actually eat that frog, we won't stare at it too long. The best thing to do is just put it in your mouth and eat. So this now goes back to the fact that whatever we have to do, let's bite it at that particular time. Let's do it. Let's get it done. Let's have that discipline of execution when it comes to time management and being punctual to ensure that we do what we have to do to get to where we have to get to, and ensuring we meet deadlines. And that flows right into the time management skill that I've mentioned about earlier, which is one of the critical strategies for improving punctuality. It is time management. And for us to build that time management, there are a lot of tools that can help us in doing that today. We can set alarms, we can set reminders, we can put notification on our smartphone to prompt us when it is time to start a task or head out to a meeting. Why do we need to do this? We are not perfect, and because we are not perfect, we have competing priorities, actually competing for our time. And some of these priorities are things we need to do, but to ensure that we're effective professionals that we are, we can also set some sort of alarms or reminders which would prompt us. Perhaps if you have a meeting, say about 8 a.m., it's not a bad thing to set a reminder for about 7:30. So as that reminder goes off, it prompts you that this is something I need to attend, and you can put whatever task or whatever plans you have together to ensure you meet that particular deadline. So setting alarms, setting reminders, that importance cannot be overemphasized. It's actually one of the important and critical ingredients towards ensuring that we effectively manage our time. Another one here is prioritizing tasks. Like I mentioned earlier, there are competing priorities. How do we prioritize? Define your goals and prioritize tasks to better manage your time. Break down your goals into smaller, manageable steps with specific deadlines. Before we go into work, what do we do before we resume at work on a particular day? Do we plan our day the day before? Do we wake up early in the morning? Through how the day will go, what are specific activities we need to do, what are deadlines we have, what are specific tasks and deliverables we need to achieve for that day. Do we have a journal where we plan and write down some of these things? So having a good time management skill and prioritizing tasks is actually some of the critical strategies we need to build when it comes to improving punctuality. And as the saying goes, the bad news is that time flies. But the good news, professionals, is that we are the pilot of our time. There are a lot of things that will be competing for our time, but we're actually the pilots, ladies. We are the pilot of our time, professionals. We have 24 hours in a day. No matter the time zone where we are, it is still 24 hours in a day. Out of that 24 hours, there are prioritizing tasks, different competing things, competing for that 24 hours. But how well do we prioritize? We are the pilots of that time. It is how well we prioritize that would help define or determine if we're going to be successful professionals or not. And to also help us towards being the actual architect or the pilot of our time, I put something together on this slide to also help us see some of the things when it comes to time management and prioritization. Now, as you can see on this slide, it says creating your productivity journal. It's all about being productive every day. Every little thing we do on a daily basis defines our journey towards being productive. And if we do not take each day, if we do not define or do what we have to do on a daily basis, it might mean that we might not be productive professionals. And that is not what we want for ourselves. So for us to be productive professionals, ladies, we need to take each day and ensure that we're deliberate about some of the actions we put in place to ensure that we're working towards building punctuality, which is a critical ingredient towards building a successful work ethic. Now, we see a notebook. How many of us have a notebook where we jot down some things? I hear some people will say, I have a diary, but let's have a dedicated notebook where we jot down tasks, where we jot down deliverables, where we jot down deadlines of things we need to do. And as soon as we do a particular deliverable, as soon as we complete a particular deliverable, it's not out of place to cross out those things on our notebook, on our diary, to also show that sense of accomplishment that, yes, I've been able to achieve this, I'm moving to the next big thing. And we also need to prioritize our task because we have competing priorities. And like I mentioned, of completed items carry over unfinished tasks. If you have a particular task you're supposed to do, say for example, today, which is a Friday, at the end of the day, you are not able to complete that task. You need to be able to be factual with yourself, ask yourself questions to say, why was I not able to complete this task that I've defined for myself to complete today? Why was this assignment left unfinished? You need to be able to understand why that particular assignment was left unfinished. Because if you can't answer that question, you might find yourself just carrying over that task over and over again. And if you find yourself carrying over that task over and over again, perhaps that task is not something that you even want to do in the first place. Perhaps you want to remove that task from your notebook and focus on more priority or more important tasks that you have to do. Now, in the journey towards building a good time management skill, I've put together a matrix here. I know a lot of us will be familiar with this matrix. It's the Stephen Covey's time management matrix. And this is a matrix that could actually even also help us when it comes to effectively managing our time. Now, on this Stephen Covey's management matrix, it is designed or broken down into 4 quadrants. We have on the x-axis, we have the urgent and not urgent. And on the y-axis, not important and important. By the time we're plotting each of these y and x axes together in each of the quadrants 1 to 4, we'll be able to see what each of these quadrants mean. Now, for quadrant 1 represents activities or tasks that are both important and urgent. Now, we refer to quadrant 1 as a quadrant of urgency. This is where you have things relating to crises, things relating to pressing problems, deadline-driven projects, deadline-driven meetings, presentations, and the likes. They are in the quadrant 1 where we have the quadrant of urgency, which is the important and urgent. Now, because of our time, let's quickly move to what quadrant 2 means. Quadrant 2 is activities important but not urgent. Let's not forget what quadrant 1 is. Quadrant 1 stands for activities which are important and also urgent. Now for quadrant 2, activities that fall in quadrant 2, they are not urgent, but they are important. Now we refer to quadrant 2 as a quadrant of quality. Now in this quadrant, we're building relationships, we're empowering ourselves. It goes into mid, short, and long-term planning. We do our we anticipate and prevent problems, we empower others, and we broaden our minds and increase our skills. It is a quadrant of quality, and these are some of the things that fall into not urgent, but important. Now, see what we have as part of this quadrant 2. It's saying that ignoring quadrant 2 enlarges quadrant 1 and also creates stress and burnout. Now, there are things that are not urgent, but important. If we ignore those things, it will enlarge what we have in quadrant 1, which means that we'll now have a lot of things that are important and now urgent, because when they were not urgent at that particular time, we failed to focus attention on them. And because we failed to focus attention on them and time has passed, we procrastinated, time has passed. It has now enlarged what we have in quadrant 1, and everything is now urgent and important. And because everything is now urgent and important, it will lead to stress. It will lead to burnout. So that goes back to the fact that we need to build that time management skill. If we need to eat that frog, then don't let us stare at it so long. Let's just bite it and eat it at that particular time. Don't let us procrastinate, just to ensure that whatever we have to do at a particular time, we do it and we move on to the next big thing. Now, going quickly to quadrant 3. Now in quadrant 3, we have activities that are urgent but not important. Now, this is the quadrant of deception. Why do we say it's a quadrant of deception? It is deceptive because we could say this activity is urgent, but if we review it a bit more further, if we look at it, I think the first session we had was relating to something around self-awareness. If we're able to to critically assess ourselves, we would understand that yes, this particular thing, it might seem urgent, but it's not important for me at this particular time. And now within that quadrant, we're looking at interruptions from phone calls, emails that are not really necessary, meetings that you don't necessarily need to be in. So just to give you time to focus on other things. This is where we are taken for granted. This is where it is difficult for us to say no. In fact, this is where we seemingly live other people's life. Actual activities, if they are important at all, are important to another person. They are not important to us. They're actually important to another person. It may seem as though we're living other people's life. So it's not important to us. It might come across as urgent. But if we were to critically assess ourselves at that particular time, it is not important to us. And that's why it is called the quadrant of deception. And finally, on the last quadrant is a quadrant 4. Activities here are not urgent and not important. They are the quadrant of waste. When we are tossed around in quadrant 1 and quadrant 3, we often escape to quadrant 4 for survival. Don't forget what we mentioned in quadrant 1. Quadrant 1 is urgent and important. Quadrant 3 is urgent but not important. And when we find ourselves tossing around in these two quadrants, we run to 4 for survival. It is not recreational activities. Quadrant 4 is not something we call recreational activities, because true recreation is found in quadrant 2. Why do we say true recreation is found in quadrant 2? Quadrant 2 is a quadrant of quality. When we spend our time in quadrant 2, it enables us, it gives us that time to effectively plan. We're thinking midterm, we're thinking short term, we're thinking long term. And because we've thought about those things, we've put the necessary plan in place to ensure that these are the things that will guide me. We're putting the necessary structure, we're putting the necessary governance, we're putting the necessary processes in place that will guide us along the way. Also building that kind of mindset and discipline, which we will discuss very soon. We'll discuss about very soon. We're putting all that in place in quadrant 2. So it's a quadrant of quality. Whatever we come out with from quadrant 2 helps us to effectively plan and helps us build that required work ethic towards becoming a good professional. And as you can see, as I wrote in red here, we need to spend more time in quadrant 2 to manage our time. It is of priority, colleagues, professionals, and friends, to spend more time in quadrant 2 to manage our time. Let's not forget what we discussed in quadrant 2. Quadrant 2 is a quadrant of quality. Quadrant 2 is where we build relationships. Quadrant 2 is where we empower ourselves. And to build relationships is not something that happens within the spur of the moment. It's something that is gradual. It's something that takes time. It is a quadrant where we empower ourselves. How well do we empower ourselves? This particular session where we are this morning is part of empowering ourselves, because we're learning, we're developing ourselves on the required work ethic we need to build to be successful professionals. And thinking about this, I know there are other soft skills that we need to build along the way: emotional intelligence, business communication. This is where we consistently and are deliberate about building ourselves. And this is what we do in quadrant 2. And what some of these skills helps us to do is that by the time we have all these skills in us, it helps improve our work quality. It helps improve our productivity. It helps improve us as individuals, not just even at work alone, as it concerns all sphere of life, both within and outside of work. So having discussed in detail what punctuality is and how punctuality helps us to build that successful work ethic that we need to build, I would go quickly into the next area that we're supposed to look at this morning, which is reliability. And before we go right into reliability, I know I've been talking a lot. I would like to get our reactions. How are we feeling so far, professionals? How are we feeling so far, ladies? Are we still fired up? Are we still together, or have lost some of us? Do we want to chat to me how we're feeling? Awesome, energized, fantastic, good to go. How are we feeling, professionals, this morning? Then we'll go right into discussing what the reliability is. Oh, wow, fantastic, awesome, awesome, energized, awesome, fantastic, good to go. This is great. Thank you. I'm loving the energy in the room. Very good, very good. Energized. My morale is high. Oh, yeah, high. Fantastic, fantastic, ladies. I'm happy. I'm delighted to be here. Right on. Thank you so much. This is meant for me. Thank you. I'm happy. I'm happy that this particular session is hitting the right places. Thank you so much, professionals. I'm honored to be here with you once again. Now, let's quickly delve right into the next area we're looking at this morning, and that is reliability. Okay. This is hanging now. Okay, fantastic. So reliability. Now, to a layman, reliability would mean consistently delivering on commitments and promises. You're seen as a reliable individual. You said you would do this, and you're consistently doing it. So reliability is not just about, I said I would deliver an assignment by 9 a.m., for example, on Monday. And because I delivered that assignment on 9 a.m. on Monday, I automatically become reliable. No. Let's take note of that word. It says consistently. So to be reliable is a consistent effort. It's something you do every day. It's something you build on every day. And when you're consistent and you're continuously doing it, I refer to you as someone who is authentic, and not just being authentic alone, as someone who is reliable. Now, see some words I highlighted in red on the screen. It describes that quality of being trustworthy. It is consistently delivering on commitments and promises in the workplace. Do you deliver on an assignment, on a task, on a deliverable today, and tomorrow you're found wanting? Then you do it the following day, the next day you're found wanting. If we do that, we are not going to be defined or referred to as reliable. Reliability takes a lot of work on our part. It takes a lot of effort on our part to be consistent every day. And that is why every little thing we do every day builds on this. Time management we discussed earlier, punctuality we discussed earlier, and avoiding procrastination we discussed earlier ties into this in some way to ensure we're consistently building on this on a daily basis to be reliable individuals. And now, like I mentioned earlier, reliability helps people to trust us. It builds trust with colleagues and clients in both personal and professional relationships. Now, let's even talk about personal relationships. For example, maybe some of us that are not married, or even some of us that are already married, we tell our spouse that I'm going to do this thing, and we fail to do that thing. The following day, we tell our spouse we're going to do something else. I'm sure we'll begin to imagine how our spouse will begin to look at us. And for some that are not yet married and are still looking forward to marrying, you're still chiking that particular lady, you're chiking that particular guy, you're saying you're going to do this, and you fail on your promises. We can begin to see how that kind of relationship would be. There'll be hiccups. There wouldn't be trust in that particular relationship. So reliability is also another work ethic that is actually important for us, not even just talking about within the four walls of the working environment now, but across all spheres of life. Now, reliability is an essential work ethic required for success. I can't overemphasize that in the workplace. It enhances an individual's reputation by establishing them as someone who can be consistently trusted and depended upon. Of what use is us going to the working environment when other people cannot rely on us, when other people cannot depend on us to deliver results, to deliver on specific tasks that we have said we're going to deliver on? And that is where reliability comes into play. So here, reliability is actually of great importance, professionals, when it comes to building that work ethic we need to build. These are some of the tips for improving our reliability. We're looking at clarity and expectations, and we're also looking at over-promising and under-delivering. Now, when it comes to clarity and expectations, we want to ensure, professionals, that when we're given a specific task or assignment, we want to be clear on what is expected on that task. Ensure that you have a clear understanding of what is expected of you, either is at work, in any relationship, or whatever commitment you find yourself. Clarity and expectations help you meet them more reliably. When you understand what you need to do, it helps you to ensure that you're working towards meeting that particular thing at the particular agreed time that you have agreed upon to meet them. And that helps ensure that you're a reliable individual. It also helps to keep your commitments. Only make commitments that you are confident you can keep. When you promise to do something, please ensure you follow through, professionals. Follow through on whatever you have committed to do, no matter how small or how large that commitment can be. In fact, there's a saying that people trust us more in small things, not even in the big things. So no matter how small you've committed to do something, let's ensure we live up to our expectations. We live up to those commitments that we've had with others. It helps us in that journey towards becoming a reliable individual. Now, I, for one, I have that work ethic or work culture of under-promising and over-delivering. It has also helped me in my career journey, in my career life. I would rather under-promise than over-promise. And rather than over-committing, set achievable expectations and then strive to exceed them. This approach can lead to positive surprises and enhance your reliability. So let's make it a habit not to overpromise and underdeliver, but you can underpromise and work towards going above and beyond that promise or commitment you've made. And that leads to surprises. That leads to people even believing in you more because you've exceeded expectations and they consider you as reliable individuals. And this is one of the important things that we need to do when it comes to being a reliable individual, and that is learning to say no. A whole lot of us are neck deep into different relationships, and we find it difficult to say no. We can actually find on Google smart ways to say no and not to be offensive when it comes to politely accepting some particular commitments, because perhaps at that particular time, we might be overburdened with a lot that we need to do. There might be a lot of competing tasks that we need to focus on, and taking on more would lead to biting off more than we can chew. And if we're biting off more than we can chew, it leads to stress, it leads to burnout, it leads to breakdown, it leads to not delivering on specific tasks or deliverables on appointed timelines or deadlines that we've committed to do them, and that takes off from our reliability gradually. So professionals, friends, don't be afraid to say no when you genuinely cannot commit to a particular task. I hope we're finding this interesting as I'm doing here. And because of our time, I'd want to move with the speed of light into the next area we're going to discuss today, professionalism. We've discussed punctuality. We've also discussed reliability as part of the essential ingredients that we need to build when it comes to having the right work ethic. Professionalism is also another area that we need to focus and pay attention to us when it comes to building the right work ethic. Now, what is professionalism? The role of work ethics in professionalism is significant, and in this case, it is multifaceted. Certain work ethics serves as a guiding framework for professionals across various fields, helping them navigate their roles and responsibilities in a manner that is both morally and socially responsible. How do I mean? Professionalism encompasses a lot when it comes to working within the working environment. We will see some of these areas that professionalism captures shortly. But when it comes to professionalism, it comprises a set of principles, a set of best practices that contributes to our success at the workplace. And now professionalism is actually that behavioral work attitude or mindset that is critical for career growth. And it serves as key principle in the workplace towards productivity. It is that behavior, it is that attitude, it is that mode of thinking that is generally accepted in your role and responsibilities as a professional. So as professionals, we understand some of the requirements of our work roles, of our tasks in our different organizations where we're working. We understand what we need to do, the guiding frameworks, the guiding policies, and the guiding principles that guides how we work, that guides the framework within the confines of what we do within the working environment. Now, it is the mindset, the attitude, the governance, the structure within which we ensure that we're disciplined enough to put ourselves within the framework of behaving within the confines of what has been given to us that actually defines us as professional individuals. And now some of the areas that we need to pay attention to, some of the things that would show that we're actually exhibiting professionalism in the workplace. Dress as you would like to be addressed. The importance of dressing cannot be overemphasized. Friends, there's actually even a saying that says that what is that saying now? It says I'm trying to remember that saying now, but it relates to how we're trying to also put ourselves out there. That is not coming to me now, but like I mentioned earlier, it says dress the way you want to be addressed. How do you want people to see you? The way we dress says a lot, goes a long way when it comes to portraying ourselves as professionals. Within our working environment, within our organizations, are there particular dress codes that has been defined within the confines of the policy and the framework that guides behavior, the code of ethics and behavior? Do we ensure that we live and we dress within the confines of that policy? Do always going out, perhaps maybe on a Monday to Wednesday within the banking environment, say for example, the bank where I work, within Monday to Wednesday, there's a particular way you're to dress, dress as professionals, business casual. And if you're going for a particular meeting, ensure you dress in your corporate attire, wear your suit with your tie. And even when you're wearing your suit, there are particular suits you can wear, there are particular suits you cannot wear, there are particular shirts, there are particular trousers you cannot wear. All of these things actually matter. And for us on a Thursday, there's a particular outfit you need to wear to also support the brand of the organization. On a Friday, even on a Friday that it's saying that you can dress down on a Friday, thank God it's Friday, it's been a hectic week, it's been a busy week. On a Friday, you can come to work dressed down. But even within dressing down, you also need to dress down within the confines, within this framework and structure of what has been defined. Now, do we pay attention to some of these things? These things might come across as little, as unimportant, but there are actually little things every day that defines us as professionals. Little things every day that defines us as disciplined individuals that we'll go into very soon. So dressing the parts, we need to dress the parts on a daily basis. It's not out of place to say we're investing in our look, we're investing in how we dress. Understand? Because they say dress the way you want to be addressed. I think that was what I was looking for earlier. The way you're dressed talks about how you also be addressed. And for us to be addressed properly, for us to be considered professionals, our dress sense is also important. So we're not saying we should break the bank when it comes to dressing or when it comes to getting the right sense of dress. We don't need to break the bank, but there are certain things we can do to ensure that we're always neat, we're always clean. If you have white shirts, you can actually wear white shirts for 2 or 3 days, clean, neat white shirt for 2 or 3 days, and nobody will know. They would actually even think that you have like 5 white shirts in your wardrobe, but nobody knows that it's just one white shirt that you're managing because it is white. And nobody even cares. At times we feel that people actually look at us and discuss so much about us. But the truth is, people actually have a lot of things they are focusing on. So at specific times, people are not even discussing about us. At specific times, people might not even remember what you wore yesterday. Because I know there's a lot of, particularly for our ladies, yes, we're discussing with ladies, particularly for our ladies, we always want to say, I don't want to wear what I wore yesterday, today, I want to look different, I want to shock them, I want to surprise them. Yes, all that is good. But when it comes to that, we don't want to break the bank in doing that. We all want in our dress sense, but being within the confines of being modest in our dress sense, we also want to dress as professionals. So dress appropriately, dress the parts, very critical towards becoming professionals and also maintaining that good work ethic we need to build. Respecting diversity is also another one. There's a big concept when it comes to DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And now within the confines of diversity, equity, and inclusion, we're looking at varied backgrounds, varied beliefs, varied religions, varied experiences. How do we relate with people that have the different background? Do we deal with people with biases? Do we let our biases overcloud how we deal with people? If we let our biases overcloud how we deal with people, it wouldn't come across as us being professionals. And that's also another skill we need to build in respecting diversity. Let's respect the diversity of our colleagues. In fact, there's a saying that says there's joy in diversity. And on the call this morning, that we have diverse people from diverse environments, I think from 34 African countries. And the fact that we're from 34 African countries also means that we have different people with varied experiences, with varied backgrounds. The way I know how to do things in my country might not necessarily be the way another person knows how to do it in countries, but we still arrive and achieve the same result. So we want to respect other people's opinion, respect other people's background. All of these little things, all of these conscious and deliberate efforts every day sums up consistently towards building us as professionals. Maintain confidentiality is also another one. As an HR professional, I could say it would easily come to me because it's one of the tenets, it's one of the principles of my profession to be confidential. Because as an HR professional, I deal with a lot of confidential information every day. Employees come to meet me, discuss this, discuss that. It's very confidential. Things you can't even share in the open space. It could lead to chaos. We also need to improve on that skill of maintaining confidentiality. It is critical when it comes to being professionals. Because there's a saying that if someone tells you something, employee A tells you something, you tell employee B that particular thing. There's no way when you're telling employee B, there will be an added thing, an added juice that you're adding to it just to ensure that by the time I'm telling this my friend, this person is my best friend, I'll tell him not to tell anybody. By the time I'm telling my best friend this particular thing, I will add some sort of juice. So it's sweet in that my best friend, I'll tell him, this thing I'm telling you is confidential. Don't tell anybody. Before you know, the person you're telling it to, that person also has another best friend, though, and he would add his own juice. And as information is passing like that, there's a breakdown in communication. You're adding, you're removing. And by the time it gets to the other person, that is not entirely what was said. We've added juice along the way to sweeten that particular conversation. And not having confidentiality, it disrupts trust, it causes chaos, it could lead to a total breakdown of an organization. It spoils relationships. So in our journey towards becoming professionals, in our journey towards building that particular work ethic we need to build, confidentiality is also another critical ingredient. The importance of confidentiality cannot be overemphasized. Being ethical is also another area we want to pay attention to professionals. Avoid any unethical behavior, such as cheating, stealing, or engaging in conflicts of interest. This is particularly important when it comes to our journey towards being professionals. And it is without gainsaying. I'm not even sure I need to beat this so much when it comes to being ethical. it would not be ethical. It's just like having a red stain. You know how obvious that red stain can quickly be. Even someone in a far distance can quickly spot that red stain. That is what not being ethical could do to our journey towards being professionals. And it could cause some sort of dents that would that could cause some sort of disruption in our career. It's something that people would always refer to times and times and times and years to come. That, do you remember this person did this? Do you remember this person did that? And that could actually thwart our career journey and not letting it move at that exponential level we want it to progress. So being ethical is also another area that we want to pay attention to professionals. Continuously learn and grow. Continuously learn and grow. The platforms in which we need to continuously learn and grow is one of the things that we're doing this morning. Now, in most organizations have, most structured organizations for that matter, have a learning and development function that helps to ensure that they build their employees to have the required skill, the required capabilities to do their jobs. But even at that, rely only on what the organization can give to us before we learn. We go out of our way to invest in ourselves to actually learn. There's a saying that says that it is the day someone dies that person stops to learn. Are we consistently learning? Are we consistently building on ourselves? When we consistently learn and consistently build on ourselves, it sets us different from the pack. And what that also does for us is that we're also able to add value to our respective work. We're also able to improve the quality of our work. And when we improve the quality of our work, the output is improved, productivity is improved. And that ties back to also helping us having that exponential growth in our career journey. So investing in our learning should be of utmost priority. Let's not rely only on what the organization can give us, but let's also see other areas at which we can also invest in our personal growth and development, personal learning to get us to where we need to get to. A lot has been said in the area of professionalism. And as I was discussing professionalism, I was also trying to tie this back to what we've discussed earlier, punctuality and reliability. Now we've discussed punctuality, we've discussed reliability. Now we've also discussed professionalism as all ties towards ensuring that we're all that well-rounded, experienced individual when it comes to building that good work ethic towards becoming that professionals that we want to be at the workplace. The time is fast spent. I also want to give time for question and answers because I know there will be lots of questions coming in after this session. But please, let me just tell us, please have pity on me when you're asking those questions, please. All right, thank you so much. So let's move into the last part of our conversation this morning, and that's discipline. Now, before we go right into discussing what discipline is, when you hear the word discipline, what comes to your mind? Let's take just 1 minute to send chats to me. What comes to your mind when you hear the word discipline? What comes to your mind when you hear the word discipline? Thank you so much, Joy. I can see, I love it. I love doing this too. I love being here with us. Thank you. What comes to your mind, professionals, when you hear the word discipline? Being consistent in what you do. Thank you, Mata. Restraints, thank you. Because the fonts are really small, I'm not seeing the names quickly, and because it's fast. Thank you, restraints. Oh, fantastic. This session is wholesome. Thank you so much. Fantastic. I feel honored. Obeying rules in an environment, consistency. Oh, great. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff here. Principled living. Fantastic. Being able to manage time. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Discipline is an art of being what you are. Sorry, that moved out. I couldn't see that. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, professionals. Thank you so much. Also trying to look at the time. So let's just move right into it to discuss what discipline is. Just a minute now. Okay. Okay, yes. So when it comes to discipline, professionals, friends, discipline is an essential part of showing a good work ethic. Highly disciplined employees show determination and commitment to the job. They strive to meet or exceed expectations and seek opportunities to learn new skills and improve their performance. Did we see that word there? They strive to meet and exceed expectations. I'm not just striving to meet and exceed expectations. I'm trying to tie this back to what we learned earlier when it comes to being professionals, when it comes to taking our learning seriously. Did we see the last part in what I said? They also seek opportunities to learn new skills and improve their performance. And now that is discipline. It is an essential part of showing a good work ethic, professionals. Now, discipline is that ability to be able to control ourselves and make ourselves work hard or behave in a particular way without needing anyone to tell us what to do. Now, there is that structure we've defined for ourselves. And we now have that mindset to say that within this structure I've defined for myself that I'm going to achieve a particular task, I need to pummel myself to ensure I'm working within that structure. That is self-discipline. Now, discipline provides the structure. It provides the focus. It provides the consistency necessary to pursue personal development effectively. So it's about consistency. It's about those little things you do on a daily basis. It's something you work hard towards becoming. There are times when it is not convenient. There are times when it is not easy. There are times when your body will say, let me relax. Let me be lazy at this point. Let me procrastinate. But that discipline will help ensure that you're consistently pummeling, consistently remembering yourself that this is the particular task I've defined for myself. I need to discipline myself if it is to do some sort of self-sacrificing to ensure that I achieve that particular deliverable, I achieve that particular task that I've set for myself. And now, professionals, think about this. Without discipline, personal development may remain a distant aspiration rather than a tangible reality. Let me take that again. Without discipline, personal development may remain a distant aspiration rather than a tangible reality. I do hope we understand what that means. Now, we're talking about discipline. We're talking about self-discipline. Now, if we do not discipline ourselves, we have those lofty ideas, we have those lofty goals, those fantastic aspirations. And now, within the world environment we find ourselves, the world environment, a lot of us say the world environment is VUCA. It is volatile, it is uncertain, it's complex, and it is ambiguous. There are a lot of things that could make us not deliver on whatever expectations, whatever aspirations we've set for ourselves. But if we're not disciplined, self-sacrificing, if we don't have that focused structure or framework or that governance that we've set for ourselves to say that come rain, come shine, I'm going to achieve this task. If we don't put ourselves within that confine to be self-disciplined, personal development may just be a wish. It might be just that wish that was saying, I wish I can do this, I wish I can do that, but we might never attain it or even achieve it. So we see that being personally disciplined, self-disciplined, is also an essential ingredient. Just like when you're cooking your stew, you're cooking your fried rice. I'm not sure you cook it well. Don't let me say I'm not sure. We have different cultures within the house. But in Nigeria, I'm not sure any lady or any woman in Nigeria would want to cook a stew, a fried rice without adding, depending on the brand of Maggi you will add, they will say it's an essential ingredient. Other people would come and say Maggi has not so good benefits. Let's use the particular other one. I can't remember the name. They call it in English now. But those are ingredients that we add to things for it to taste. And discipline is an essential ingredient we add to our life. And if we're saying for our life to have that taste that it should have, for our life to have that flavor it should have, discipline is that ingredient that we need to add to it. Now, talking about discipline, strategies that we want to build when it comes to cultivating personal discipline. Setting clear goals. The importance of setting clear goals cannot be overemphasized. I think even talking about setting clear goals, it is self-explanatory itself. We want to have specific objectives that which gives us that sense of direction on what we want to do. We've talked about prioritization several times today. We want to prioritize our goals. And the reason why we want to prioritize is that there are competing priorities, competing things, competing for our time. Prioritization helps us to allocate our time and energy efficiently. We're also talking about creating a daily routine. Establish a daily schedule that includes dedicated time for work, dedicated time for personal development, exercise, and relaxation. A routine minimizes decision fatigue and fosters consistency. We're also looking at breaking tasks into smaller steps. When we break tasks into smaller steps and manageable steps, it helps us conclude on times more effectively, and it ensures that we're not intimidated by whatever task that we have with us. Time management, we've spoken extensively on the importance of time management today, building that time management skill, avoiding procrastination, having a journal, having a notebook, and ensuring that we're working within the confines, within the structure, within the framework of whatever we set for ourselves. Accountability is one here. Sorry, I'm trying to walk fast. We have just about 45 minutes left, and I know there'll be lots of questions coming in. Accountability, there's something a lot of people say, and I know lots of us professionals in the house would have heard about it. It says accountability partner. Do we have an accountability partner? It could be a friend that we really trust. It could be a family member that we want to share our goals with. The essence of having that accountability partner is, this is my goal. Such accountability partner will help to keep you on the right track. When you're going away from that thing you've set for yourself, your accountability partner will bring you back to focus to ensure that you're working towards whatever area you've set for yourself. And that is the importance of having an accountability partner. We also want to consistently track our progress. Track your progress, measure success. How well are you doing? Are you monitoring and evaluating what you're doing? Are you achieving whatever you're doing? And as soon as you're achieving whatever you've set for yourself, you also want to celebrate yourself, to have that sense of accomplishment, that sense of happiness and joy that you're actually working and doing whatever you want to do. Eliminating distractions is also a big one we want to ensure here. Identify and remove or minimize distractions in your environment, such as turning off notifications on our phones, blocking distracting websites on our systems, on our smartphones, or finding a quiet workspace to ensure that we're a bit more focused and dedicated to whatever we need to do. Yeah. Professional self-care is also another big one here. Let's prioritize our self-care, including adequate sleep, regular exercise, and a balanced diet. Physical well-being has a significant impact on your ability to stay disciplined. So health is wealth. So we need to be healthy. And that is why our physical well-being also comes into play. When we're healthy, it puts us in that right mindset, that right mind framework to be disciplined, to achieve whatever task or whatever thing we've set for ourselves. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness, meditation, and techniques can help you develop self-awareness and self-control, enhancing your discipline. Develop a growth mindset. Embrace challenges. View failures as learning opportunities and believe in your capacity to grow and improve. Things in life might not be that easy. For a lot of us that are not born with silver spoon, things might not be that rosy. It might not be that easy to get. But we need to have that growth mindset. When we fail, what is our attitude? What is our behavior towards failure? Do we consider it in learning experience and move on? Do we pick ourselves all up and learn from that experience and build on that particular experience to be better individuals? Particularly important when it comes to being self-disciplined, and which also ties back to having the right work ethic. Setting deadlines is also very important. Learning to say no is also very important. Let's learn to say no, professionals. And learning to say no is not from a place of being rude or from a place of not wanting to help others. It is from a place of ensuring that we're a bit more focused and not biting more than what we can chew. Avoid overcommitting and under-delivering, but rather we would rather under-promise and over-deliver. Accountability partners I've mentioned earlier. Let's also not also forget to reward ourselves. Reward is very important. When you achieve a particular milestone, please take yourself out. Self-care. Take yourself out. Be happy. Reward yourself. Create a reward system for yourself. When you achieve milestones or complete tasks, treat yourself to something you enjoy as a motivation. Continue learning. Continuously learning, that importance cannot be overemphasized. A lot of things change. Change is a constant thing. And because things change, the way we know how to do things 2-3 weeks ago, 2-3 months ago, 1-2 years ago, might not be the same way those things are done. Other professionals might have moved on a better way to do those things and were still holding on to do those things 1-2 years ago. So continuous learning is actually very important. And because the world is VUCA, the world is volatile, complex, ambiguous, and uncertain, we would need to always review and adjust. We need to always consistently review, monitor, and course correct. Now, that is the word, course correct. And as we're going on that journey, as we're going on that way towards becoming disciplined, towards becoming good professionals, towards avoiding procrastination, being reliable, and being disciplined, we also want to course correct as we go on that journey. So as I'm going on that path, what did you do today? How you handled the transaction today? Did it help you achieve that transaction within the deadline? What do you want to learn from that experience? Now, lessons you build on a daily basis, think through it, think about it, and use it to also improve how you approach situations, how you approach issues on a daily basis going forward subsequently. And that is about course correcting as you're going on the way. You're evaluating what you've done and you're using that evaluation to build on whatever you have to do. I decided to close the session today that is about prime time. And what is prime time? The time is fast spent. Prime time is that time of the day that you are most productive. Determine the hours of the day you are most productive. It could be early morning, it could be mid-afternoon. Schedule monotonous routine tasks during the non-prime time hours. Schedule creative or intense tasks towards peak times. Now, this helps us because when we understand ourselves, I, as a person, because I'm a banker, I'm an early morning person. I leave my house as early as 5 a.m. on some days, as early as 5:30 a.m. on some days, so I can get to work at times 6:30. And as soon as I get to work at 6:30 a.m., work has started. That is the time I'm most active. So I'm most active between 6:30 a.m. to about 2 p.m., 3 p.m. By the time it's 3:30 p.m., the law of diminishing returns are started to set in. I wouldn't want to set high-level tasks to that particular period of time. I'll have prioritized my tasks in such a way that I'm moving those tasks to the time that I still have that energy, my prime time. Then perhaps maybe non-routine, monotonous task, I can now take it down to those that is my non-prime time towards 5 p.m. the day. So some of these things are what can also help us as we consistently work on that journey towards being successful professionals. Thank you so much, professionals. It's been a pleasure discussing with us this morning on areas regarding punctuality, reliability, professionalism, and discipline as particular areas and ingredients towards becoming successful people and building that particular work ethic we need to build. It's been a pleasure within the 1 hour, 30 minutes have been with us. I think it will be time to take questions now. Thank you so much, professionals. Over to you, Noka. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ademola. We've had a fantastic time. I don't know if you noticed the comments, but the fellows are saying this has been their best soft skills session so far. And I totally agree. Everything was concise. You drove the points home well. Like, you made points that we could all relate to. And I'm so glad that we had a great session. Someone says, my brain is reset. Believe me, that's how we all feel. Thank you so much. We're right on time for questions. So ladies, including ladies on YouTube, this is the time for you to send in your questions. We already have some questions here. I'll go ahead and take the first question. And this speaks to what you had earlier mentioned about under-promising and over-delivering. What do you do in a situation where your boss or your manager forces you to, how do I say this? What do you, when your manager forces you to promise to do something you know you cannot do? Say, so based on the questions I've seen so far, is based on a manager expecting you to over deliver. And even though you say, okay, I can only do this at 50%, the manager says, no, you have to do this at 100%, and then they make it your deliverable. How do you deal with a manager like that?
Fantastic. This is actually valid, Noka, and because it's some of the things that happen within the work environment. Now, I would go back to something I also mentioned earlier, which is clarifying expectations.
Okay.
Now, with that manager, you need to be upfront, because when it comes to some of this, it's giving you different priorities. It's giving you different deliverables, and those different deliverables have their deadlines. But you know that you're already carrying so much. And because you're already carrying so much, it will be a tall order to say for you to deliver on all those tasks. Do you understand? So I, for one, would say have a conversation with that line manager. And having a conversation with that line manager, we also need to also do our own work. Because at times we tend to say that some line managers are not reasonable. Yes, we know some line managers are not reasonable in that sense, but I also want to believe that a whole lot of line managers are reasonable. Let me quickly talk about, so within the work environment, a lot of people will come and say, my line manager is bullying me, this and that. But let's also think about our own work ethic as professionals ourselves. What is the history of our performance? How well have we been delivering? So if we have a good performance history, now it makes it much more easier to have that sort of conversation with that line manager to say, line manager, sir, line manager, man, I know you want me to deliver on task A, task B, the list might be long, but thinking of my history, I believe that for me to deliver on task F, it might not be reasonable for you to expect me to deliver on task A to task F on this particular date and timeline you've set for me. Rather than do that, have that upfront conversation to say, amongst all of these tasks you've given to me, task A to task F, which is priority to you? Which is priority to your own bosses that your bosses cannot do without, that you need to turn in? Now, the one that is priority to your own bosses that you need to turn in, those ones might be the ones that you want to take to maybe a task A to C that you know you can deliver quickly. Now, you can now begin to walk down on that list, and that comes down to prioritizing your task. So have that conversation with your line manager. And in ensuring that your line manager is reasonable towards you in having that conversation, you also need to have also done your own work in terms of how well you've been turning on your deliverables over time. And if you have that history of turning in good work over time, I'm sure a whole lot of line managers would also be reasonable with you and having that upfront conversation to say, this is it. And let's also be authentic when we're having that conversation and reasonable. Let's not say it's a task that should be completed in 2 hours because we also want to take our time and work in our strides. We're saying you complete that particular task in 24 hours. We also, when we're having such conversations, we want to have facts and figures, because at times when you're having such conversations with your line manager, facts and figures, you can't dispute it. It is what it is. So it's about having that confidence, have that conversation with your line manager. And I also want to believe a lot of my line managers will also be reasonable when it comes to some of these things. Thanks, Noka.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the feedback. Very concise and direct again. My next question from YouTube is from Ruth. She wants to know, her question says, how do I handle a situation where the organization isn't giving me needed training and still not giving me room to get training myself, yet still picked picked up as not being productive, even as a newbie. So this situation is a company not providing training, not giving the talent room to get extra training, but they're putting it to her that she's being unproductive.
Well, thank you so much. In that particular situation, the organization is not providing training, is not providing learning and development opportunities. And the question is saying they are not give or her time, and they're not also giving her apologies. We have only ladies in the room. They're not also giving her ladies. They're not also giving her time to go for learning. Well, in that particular situation, I would say it is about how you've also prioritized your time. In most working situations, well, I'm not sure what is applicable in most cultures. So I'll be using examples of what we have here in Nigeria. At most times, working hours is always 8 hours. Maybe you want to, some organizations might want to stretch it. They'll say 10 hours. You have 24 hours in a day. And that's go back to self-discipline. It won't be easy, like I mentioned earlier. It will not be easy. But at times we'll need to we need to sacrifice some things. We might need to sacrifice maybe some events we want to go for, some parties we want to do, your me time. You want to sacrifice it to ensure that you're building yourself. Because some organizations might not really provide a learning and development platform for you. But as individuals, and let's not also forget that, yes, we might be employees within a particular organization today, but at some particular point in time, it might be time for us, if we don't decide that we want to move on ourselves to other organizations, the organization might come and say they want to downsize or right size and say they are cutting off some employees. So it is whatever we've learned that is our own. Yes, as we're working on a daily basis, we're building experiences on the job, but it's whatever we've consistently and proactively learned for ourselves that sets us apart, that helps to develop us and takes us to that next big thing. So we also want to be deliberate about that to ensure that we're deliberate about our learning journey. I think I mentioned earlier during the session, so that some organizations might not provide that opportunity for us, but we also want to be deliberate about it to say, am I investing in myself? At times, learning might not come cheap, but are we doing that sort of investment? Now, learning has even been democratized. Now, there are learning on several platforms. There's Coursera. There's a lot of them on YouTube, on Google, that you might not even necessarily pay for. You can just search and just learn some things. So it's about how well you're disciplined, how well you've dedicated. And at times, learning is not that you want to focus 2, 3, 4 hours, 30 minutes, 1 hour at a time. You've learned something that would impact you, that would impact your job. So I think being more dedicated, being more self-disciplined, and having a bit of more focus would help us find ourselves in such situations. Thanks, Nuka.
Thank you for that feedback. I'll take my next question from a reliable person. To expatiate, I get tired easily, not because I do not know what to do next, but because I'm getting bored doing it already. For example, I love making content and writing. When I do that consistently for 2 or 3 days, I stop because I get tired, yet I love it. How do I change this and become reliable?
So the person says she likes writing content, but at some specific point in life, writing content becomes monotonous and she gets bored. Writing
yes.
Well, how I would approach that particular situation would be adding fun to work myself. So I would need to have even personally assessed myself to even understand if that is what I find joy in doing. Is that my passion? Is that an area I really find joy in doing? So if I've personally assessed myself and I say, I'm passionate about content writing, I'm passionate about content for others, but when it comes to building content, there are times when I get bored. And when it comes to content writing, I do know, although content writing is not my forte, but I do know that when it comes to content writing, you're going to be writing content across varied areas. You might be writing content on a particular topic today, and the following day you're writing content on a different topic. And the next you're writing content on another topic, just to ensure that you maintain that relevance and you consistently stay on top of whatever you're doing. So what I would advise in this situation is for the person to immerse herself in whatever she's doing. If you look at it a bit more deeply, there will be something you can learn from those things, particularly when it is about you writing content on different topics on different days. And because there's something you can learn, you're building yourself on several areas. And as you're doing that, also add fun to work. See areas where you can dye some sort of fun. Perhaps maybe you set a deadline to say that I should be able to do 3, 4, 5 contents in a week. By the time you achieve that milestone, take yourself out. Enjoy, go out and party with friends. Engage yourself in conversations. Engage yourself in other areas. And as you're engaging yourself in conversations and other areas, you might even get that inspiration into something else other areas that you need to focus on that would also have some sort of flavor to what you're doing. So I would say, like I mentioned during the session earlier, celebrate accomplishments. Let's not just bury ourselves into doing what we're doing on a daily basis, writing the content. Let's give ourselves a gift. Let's give ourselves a pat on the back. I've done a whole lot of work. Let me take myself out. Let me enjoy myself. And as you're doing that, you're adding fun to your work. And before you know it, as you're doing that on a consistent basis, the boredom, the monotonous of a thing might be something that you gradually remove.
Thank you.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does. Next question says, in instances where the managerial approach is autocratic and the leader appears to lack motivation and proper interpersonal skills, how can one effectively navigate working under such conditions? This becomes particularly challenging as it seems to impact the entire team, resulting in additional tasks for the team leader. Any advice on handling such a work environment?
So most definitely, most organizations. Oh, apologies, Noka. I thought you were done. I think it was a network glitch on my end.
Yes, I'm done. I was just emphasizing the point about autocratic leaders.
Awesome. Well, these are some of the issues we have in some of our workplaces. Autocratic. This is the way I want it to be done, and you don't have a choice. You have to do it that way. But in some organizations where we have structured process, and even in other organizations where you have the feedback mechanism in place, you can actually give feedback that is devoid of any sort of subjectivity, that is objective. Now, there are places where they have structured appraisal processes. They have this 360 approach that you can also give feedback about your bosses, the line manager, the management style of your line manager, and how your line manager is actually leading you. We can actually also use this medium to give feedback. We can do some sort of whistleblow to ensure that other people would also understand what you're going through within your particular teams. And before you do that, you also want to know and be sure that whatever you're whistleblowing is actually true in its truest sense. Have you done your homework? Have you done the necessary due diligence? Have you removed all sorts of subjectivity? Certain things that the line manager is requesting for. Is it that you're seeing the line manager as autocratic, or you believe that based on your own work ethic and based on the mindset you already have, you can achieve some specific task? But some line managers are actually autocratic, really. But even after doing all of this and the work environment is still toxic, the line manager is still that, we might want to begin to also plan our exit. And that is one thing I also tell some people, and it is a fact. You might also want to begin to plan your exit, to say, what is my exit strategy? I've discussed this over and over. I've given my feedback to this line manager. I've told the line manager one-on-one, boss, yes, we're here to support the team. We're here to do the work, and we'll go all out to achieve whatever deliverable you give to us. But there are some certain things you do that we feel that is not actually helping us as a team. So after doing all that, giving the feedback and something is not working, at that particular time, we might also want to begin to plan our exit strategy. And planning our exit strategy is also for our own mindset too. It's for our own emotional state as an individual to ensure that we have that emotional state to deliver on whatever task, the mental balance to deliver on whatever task we need to develop on. Thanks, Noka.
Thank you so much for that feedback. Thank you so, so much. Next question, this is straight to the point. It says, please, how can we measure and keep track of our progress?
Just a minute, Noka. So apologies,
Okay.
since apologies, I don't need to respond to that. So could you please take that question again?
Okay. It says, please, how can we measure and keep track of our progress?
How can I measure and keep track of my progress? So for different tasks that we have, has its the different objectives, the different goals, the measure of success. So say, for example, you set a task to be a pilot. At different points in time, what milestones have you defined as measure of success? At the end of year one, I should have completed the introductory classes. At the end of year two, I should have completed the intermediate classes. At the end of year three, I should have completed the advanced classes. At the end of year four, I should have started my internship as being a pilot. Then by fifth year, I'm a full pilot. So that helps you to keep track. And going back to my session earlier, I think I mentioned something about clarifying expectations. Clarifying expectations is actually to help you understand why you're actually doing what you're doing. It's about setting objectives. In some of our organizations, they say your objectives has to be SMART, specific, measurable, action bound, time bound, and realistic, and all of that. So you're setting objectives, you're setting milestones, you're setting expectations. Now, what that helps you do is that it helps you to track your progress. So by the time you achieve a particular milestone, you go back to your notebook and check. You're now able to cross out to say that I said that I'm going to do this at the end of 1 week. Have I done it? What was the objective I set for it? I've done it. You're able to cross it out. That way, you're tracking your progress, and that helps you to also ensure that you're moving on in the right direction. And there's also something I mentioned earlier, that in tracking your progress, you're also course correcting along the way. What course correcting helps you to do is that in achieving a particular objective you've set for yourself, there might be hiccups along the way, there might be challenges along the way. What did you learn from that challenge? What would that challenge help you? How would that challenge help you? What lesson did you learn from that challenge that will help you build on whatever you need to do for the second milestone or for the second objective? Build on that, course correct as you go along the way. That would help you track your progress. But most importantly, in tracking your progress, you need to have a defined measure of success. What is your measure of success? How would you know that you're actually successful in doing whatever task? What is the objective? What is the goal? What is the end game in doing that particular thing? Help to appropriately track your progress in the right direction. Thanks, Noka.
Thank you. I like the fact that you mentioned defining a measure of success so that at least you will know when you're successful or when you hit your milestone. Thank you so much, Ademola. We have a few more questions to go. I'll go ahead and take the next one. This is from Sholafumi on YouTube. It says, please, I'm eager to know how one can underpromise and overdeliver, especially during job interviews without sounding unfit or incapable. Is that the right time to underpromise during interviews? I would like to know.
Oh my word. Oh my word. Okay, so, well, as an HR professional, I would say during interviews, there are different things that HR professionals look out for when you're interviewing for a role. Now, there's something we call the STAR approach. We're looking at the situation, the task, the action, and the results. And as you're discussing the STAR approach, you're not just looking at the technical aspects, you're also looking at the behavioral aspects. What is the behavior that this person displayed in different projects that this person is talking about? And now, there are certain things you say that interviewers could see beneath and know that this person is not being genuine, this person is not authentic, this person is not realistic. There are certain things you do and say during interviews that interviewers can also actually see beneath. And for us who feel like I went to that interview, I aced that interview, I answered all their questions, but we didn't understand that there are specific things we might have said that we feel we want to bamboozle the interviewer in that sense, or see a lot of things that could make the interviewer's head feel like this person actually knows what he or she is doing. That interviewer is feeling like, I'm not sure this person is actually being authentic. So those are some of the things we also want to put in mind when we go for those interviews. We want to be authentic. We want to be real. Yes, when we're talking about those things we've done, those projects, what initiatives did we put in place? What was our role? How far is too far? What will we be saying that people will come and say that I'm not sure I believe this, whatever this person is saying. You understand? So those are some of the things we also want to look at. Now, under promising and over delivering. Now, within the work environment, there are different tasks that might have been given to you, but to come to it in simple terms, your line manager might give you a particular task depending on your particular field. I'm an HR professional, so I don't want to consistently use HR professional or examples. So depending on whatever career path we've chosen for ourselves, we all have line managers, we have tasks, deliverables that we're working on. Now, maybe your boss has given you a particular task to say, prepare a financial statements, prepare the accounting statement of this organization and deliver that accounting statement by 12 noon on Monday. Now, you go back to meet your line manager and say, line manager, 12 noon on Monday you gave to me is not realistic because, I still need to get data from the finance unit. I need to get data from our customer experience people. I need to get data from different areas within the organization. And in getting all those data, time is of essence. Rather than do 12 noon, I think 3 p.m. on Monday would be the right time to turn in this deliverable. Now, you give yourself some leeway. Your line manager has self 12. You know within yourself that you can actually deliver by 12, but depending on whatever things that happen, you're giving yourself a leeway to say, even if I don't meet the deadline of 12, I'll try to meet the deadline of 3. So you're still within that bandwidth. And now while you're engaging all the necessary stakeholders you need to engage to get the data you need to get, in your mind, you're working towards 12. You've told your line manager you do 3, but you deliver that assignment for 12. Now, that is an example of under promising and over delivering. And I know we can think through a lot of other examples that is easily more relatable to us, but these are some of the things we also want to be conscious about. Now, a lot of organizations are in the period where they are defining their strategy for the next year. A lot of us senior professionals in the house will be going for strategy retreat sessions to discuss what we want to do for the next year. Now, the organization will come and say, we want bold, lofty ideas. These are initiatives we want, but there's only a limit to what you can deliver. So why not think through 5 big initiatives you would do? Submit those 5 big initiatives as things you would do. But you know that you can actually do more than 5. At the end of 2024, you said you were going to do 5, but you actually did 10. So that's also another way of under promising and over delivering. You promised to deliver 5. You did not go below delivering 5, but you actually delivered 10. So those are things you do on a daily basis that actually also makes you reliable. But in the situation where the question was asked in terms of interviewing, when we go for interviews, we also want to try as much as possible to be authentic when we're answering those interview questions. I saw, apologies, Noka, I saw, is it a skit online about someone that went for it? And the job interview was about software engineer. He said he knew how to code and all that. He sold himself well during the job interview. And when now it's reality, you need to start doing the job. The guy was practically sweating. He didn't even know what to do. But he has gone into interview to sell himself, say above and beyond, these are things I can do. So that also boils down to the fact that we also need to try as much as possible to be authentic, not say some things that we know we can't deliver, but actually try to be authentic when we go for some of these things. Thanks, Noka.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that feedback. And that ties to the next question, which is interesting, in my opinion. The question is from Akinrele Mojisola on YouTube. She said, how should I handle a superior that preaches do not overpromise and underperform, but will later do otherwise and even affect my own productivity and client satisfaction?
Sorry, Noka, could you take that again?
Okay, the question says, how should I handle a superior that preaches that we should not overpromise and underperform? Okay, but the superior will later do the same. Like the superior will underpromise and overperform, right? But that action also affects her productivity and client satisfaction.
Okay, so let me try to rephrase this in another way, just to ensure that we're on the same wave. So the question is saying that how can she handle a supervisor who is saying they shouldn't overpromise and underdeliver, but the client is now overpromising to the line manager is now overpromising to clients, and that is affecting the deliverables. Is that it? Oh,
Yes.
fantastic. So the line manager is saying don't overpromise and underdeliver, but the line manager is now going out to overpromise to customers. And when the line manager is overpromising to customers, when the line manager is overpromising to customers, the team members are not able to meet up to deliver on that same wavelength. Well, it's about being able to create a scenario and the impacts of what that is causing. Now, whatever we're working towards, most organizations are all out to ensure customer satisfaction. We're all out to satisfy our customers. In fact, I tell people that those customers that you are seeing, in a sense, they're your salary. If you don't have those customers, the organization will not continue to be in existence, and they will lay off staff, and that salary will not continue to come in. So because those customers were looking at their salary in a sense, and we want to consistently drive customer satisfaction. And for us to consistently drive customer satisfaction, we want to ensure that we're meeting the expectations of those customers within the confines of what we've defined for them. Now, such person should be able to define or show clearly the line manager data to say that, line manager, you say we should not underpromise. You say we should not overpromise, but you're going to our clients, our customers to overpromise. And now when you're overpromising, you're telling them that we'll deliver on certain tasks to them in a week or in 2 weeks. But now within ourselves, you've overpromised, but within ourselves, we know we don't even have the right resources to deliver on those things within the specific time you've told them we'll deliver on. And the customer is happy, the customer is excited that I'm expecting this thing in 2 weeks. But ultimately, I'm not even able to deliver in 2 weeks. And that expectation, that excitement, that happiness is from a level of 100 to 0. And when the excitement is from a level of 100 to 0, we stand to lose that customer. So we're now looking at the end game now. And we're telling the person, this is the end. This is the impact of whatever you're doing. Before we go to clients and say that, before we go to customers and say we're able to do this, we need to review internally, review the structure we have, and be able to agree as a team that we can actually do it. And the team member that is also saying this should also be realistic to say that these things, can we actually even achieve it in a week or 2 weeks? If we can achieve it in a week or 2 weeks, let's go ahead to do it. But if it is obvious that we can't achieve it in a week or 2 weeks, we need to give that particular feedback to that line manager. This is a potential impact of whatever would happen. If you've promised the clients that we're going to do this and we're not able to meet the deadline set, the clients will move on. They'll move on to another person that can better satisfy them. And in fact, the products, the quality we're giving to them might even be better than the quality that those other person will give to them. But because we are not able to meet deadlines, we're not able to meet on time. And as we also saw today, meeting deadlines is one critical thing that helps ensure the consistency and the continuity of businesses. So that impact definition and explanation to the line manager could help in that particular situation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that feedback. The next question from YouTube says, please, what are practical ways and tools for setting goals, time management, planners? Yes, the person says, I really need help with prioritizing tasks and time management. So what kind of tools would you recommend that we can leverage to ensure that we are setting our goals right and planning our time or managing our time better?
So thanks, Noka. We're in the age of technology. Technology has made a lot of things easier and smarter. AI is here with us. But let's not even go all high there into the different technology apps, the smart apps that we can use. For a lot of us that are professionals that are working within different organizations, the work tool as simple as the email, Outlook, is a wonderful tool that we can use to plan ourselves. If we go into the Outlook, we'll see a part where we have the calendar. That calendar is a wonderful tool we can use to set tasks. We can actually even go as far as telling Outlook to say that this is when I'm setting the reminder to be. I have a task to be completed, or I have a meeting to attend by 11 a.m. Outlook, I want you to remind me 30 minutes before the time. We can go as detailed as that. So let's check our Outlook and see how we can set those parameters, set those focused areas that can. Our smart devices are also there to help. We can set alarms on our smart devices. We can set reminders. There are other gadgets that I don't even want to begin to go into now, but those two work tools can actually help us when it comes to effectively prioritizing tasks, managing our time within the confines of what we have, and ensuring that these devices prompt us, remind us when it is time to do what we have to do.
Thank you so much. Accurate feedback. Thank you. We're almost out of time, and I have an interesting question I really need you to touch on. It says, and this is from YouTube as well. It says, how do you handle organizations that want you to work during Christmas holidays or other public holidays? How do you handle them? Interesting question.
Interesting.
Well, and I mean, before you touch on that, I want you to take that together with this other question that says, how do you handle managers who use salary reduction to threaten staff members? I feel like they go hand in hand, working during the holiday and then using salaries to threaten staff members. How can we manage this kind of situations?
So different organizations with their different culture, work practices. Now, I wouldn't want to say, because there are different policies and procedures guiding different organizations. And for us here in the country, in Nigeria, and I know it would also be applicable to other African countries, you have different labor unions guiding work, guiding what is acceptable at work, guiding how work should be done and how employees should be treated. So as an HR professional, I would say when you've explored all options and when you've done all you think you can do within the confines of what is available to you and within the confines of what is within your area of control, it might not be out of place to reach out to some of these frameworks or governance to also assist in specific situations. Companies that are not allowing the employees go on Christmas break, and all that. It might be a company policy. You know, before you become an employee of certain organizations, there are things you would sign, things you will commit into, and there are some certain policies that if we have read them and we're not fine with them, it might not be appropriate to take such contracts. But if we've signed such contracts and it is something that governs and governs work as part of the policies within that working environment, there might be a little to what we can do in that particular situation. Because as an HR professional, I know so many organizations have their different policies that guide how they work and all that. But what I can say is that we can always reach out to specific bodies that guides how work should be done and some of these things. They can look at that. But within the confines of what is even available within such organization, there are specific what's the word now? There are specific things we can also do. There are specific fact-based reports we can provide, work hand in hand with our HR departments to speak with managements to see how they can support employees in those areas. We can speak to areas as to giving employees time out, how that impacts on productivity, how that improves morale, how that improves motivation. All of those can be done, and discussions had with management, perhaps with a lot of facts and figures put on the table, and facts and figures as to how that also impacts the bottom line. Because let's not forget what some people see, some company owners, single company owners, sole proprietorship, what they see is the bottom line, profits and loss. So when we make some of these reports, we also need to be able to tie it back to Naira and Kobo, how it impacts employee motivation, employee satisfaction, and all that. So it might also mean that there might be work that we also need to do on our own part to make such management people also see things from our own light and also be able to accede to some of these things. You understand? But like I said, different policies and procedures guiding different workplaces. But it's now up to us to work together with the HR department in that organization, to work together with the specific leaders in that organization to do things in a way that is a bit more comfortable and conducive for employees within that strata. And for line managers that are using salary reduction to threaten employees, in a simple word, it choke. It choke. For our professionals that don't understand what it choke mean is, it might be unfortunate in specific areas, but I think this also ties back to what I mentioned earlier, particularly when it comes to leaders that are autocratic. But and I keep saying this, that as professionals, we need to also have done our own due diligence. We need to also have done our own homework. The importance of that cannot be overemphasized, professionals. Have we done our due diligence? Have we looked at it and ensure that this particular thing, I'm not at fault. I've done whatever I can do within my area of control, within the sphere of influence. Because by the time you're whistleblowing, by the time you're speaking out, questions will be asked, conversations will be had. Have you done what you're expected to do within the time you're expected to deliver it? So such things are also very important when we're having such conversations. Thank you, Noka.
Thank you so much. This has been an amazing session. So I have one more question for you before we hear your final thoughts to the ladies on the call today. So that final question says, is there a metrics or a process to know if a task is urgent or not? Because most times I have a lot of deadlines at work and classifying my task gets harder a little. So yes, this is about knowing what task is urgent, especially if you have so many seemingly urgent tasks. How do you prioritize?
So to help you prioritize this, Stephen Covey time management matrix will help you. But let's bring this down a bit more. And so some of these things work together. You're prioritizing your task, you're having a notebook, you're knowing which of the tasks that is actually, you need to rate a 1. So if maybe on a scale of 1 to 5, you're knowing which task you need to rate a 1, the one you're rating a 2, and the one you're rating a 5. Now, for you to do this, you need to have valid conversations. You need to have honest and open conversations. And when I say you're having conversations with the person giving you this task. Now, to the person giving you this multiple task, those tasks would not be on the same level, except if we're joking with ourselves. The task will not be on the same level. The task will only be on the same level if we've not properly prioritized, if we've not had the conversation we need to have at the right time, and the deadline for all the tasks are now very close, making all of the tasks now urgent. Do you understand? And that goes back to quadrant 1, urgent and important. Quadrant 2, which is a quadrant of quality that we mentioned, it is not urgent, but it's important. And we've said that we need to spend more time on quadrant 2. So spending more time on quadrant, which is a quadrant of quality, would mean that we've had all of those valid conversations we need to have. We've had all of those clarity of purpose that we need to have. And because we've had all of those clarity of purpose, we know the particular task we are moving to a scale of 5. We know the particular task that we're moving to a scale of 1, which is urgent, and we're focusing on the task that is on a scale of 1 within the confines of the deadline that has been given to us. We deliver on that task that is on a scale of 1, and it gives us time to move on to the task that is a scale of 2, 3, 4, and 5 on that line. So having a clarity of purpose, having a clarity of which one is on that level of frequency would also help us manage competing priorities, and also ensuring that, because we mentioned that if we don't spend time on quadrant 2, it only enlarges on quadrant 1, which leads to stress and burnout. And when we're stressed and burnout, we won't give our best at work. So it's about helping ourselves to understand, having those conversations to ensure that, yes, we don't want to have so many activities or deliverables that are urgent and important. We want to have them not urgent, but important. We do it putting the right frameworks in place, putting the right planning processes in place to ensure that we achieve whatever we need to achieve, also within the confines of the emotional and mental states that we need to have as individuals ourselves.
Thank you so much. Fantastic feedback. I can see the comment sessions buzzing. You've responded to all of our burning questions, all of the relatable questions that we have, and we are so grateful for your time. Ladies, please show appreciation in the comment section to our amazing facilitator. So up next, final words. We're right on time, and I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself. We're right on time today. Final thoughts from you, final thoughts before we let you go to the wonderful ladies on this call.
Thank you so much, Noka, and thank you so much, our professionals across 34 African countries. I feel honored. And let me just tell us the reason why I feel honored. In just 2 hours, you've made me reach 34 countries. How fantastic can that be? Thank you so much for allowing me. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this with you. It's a honor. It's my pleasure. And I think we're actually on the right trajectory. The fact that we're trying to do this, I was looking through some of the soft skills that we have lined up that we're going to be having different professionals come take us on. I think it goes into next year. So it's a wonderful thing that we're doing. And this is one of the ways that we are consciously and deliberately also building ourselves to develop the sort of soft skills to help us be that well-rounded individual. It's a good thing we're doing. And I want to say, please keep this up. Let's continue to develop and learn. Learning and development is a lifelong journey. It's a lifelong experience. The more we learn and develop ourselves, the more we're able to add value to whatever work or whatever task that we're given, not just at work, outside of work as well. I feel honored to be here. It's nice doing this with us. And I will sign out saying thank you so much for the opportunity, Noka, and thank you so much for the vibe, for the high energy in the room. I so much appreciate it. Thank you once again.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The comment sections, you can see emojis they're coming in to say thank you. They're clapping for you or sending you hearts. Thank you so much. One last thing before you go, would love to connect with you on whatever professional social media platform you're comfortable with, maybe LinkedIn. It would be great if you could share your handle with us, and we'll just, reach out, try to connect, chat you up if you have further questions. But it would be great if you could just share your profile with us before you leave the call.
Okay. My LinkedIn profile, just give me a minute. Let me go back to, let me just quickly do something so I can share it on the chats.
Okay.
Just a minute. Let me just look at what I shared with a colleague.
Okay. And ladies, thanks everyone for being on the call. I left a message on your Teams group, so please wait till the end of this session. We're not done yet. Once our facilitator leaves, we'll have a quick meeting before we let you go for the weekend. Okay, so please don't leave the call just yet. We still have something. We have a family meeting. Let me put it that way. Yeah,
right,
so
so
please
I'm
wait on the
dropping
call.
this is my LinkedIn I just dropped.
Okay,
that's it.
we see
Noka,
that.
you can see that. Okay, so let me drop my Instagram. Although I'm not active on Instagram, but let me just drop that.
Okay, LinkedIn is fine. Yinka, please share Ademola's LinkedIn with fellows on Zoom. He just dropped it.
Okay, and
You'll be
this
hearing
is
from us, I
Instagram.
promise. We're going to follow you. We're going to connect with you and engage with your content on LinkedIn. We're active and lively people like that. So expect to hear from us. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. I'm trying to drop my Instagram. Just a minute.
Fine, yeah. Okay, that works.
Okay, and this is it.
Okay. At Victor. Okay, got it.
Yes,
it. We'll also reshare this with the ladies on YouTube. We had over 800 ladies on YouTube, by the way, joining us live. Yeah, so when you see a lot of connection requests, just know where it's coming from. There's over 1,000 ladies on the call so far. We'll reshare the link as soon as you leave the call, but that's totally fine, not a problem. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ademola. We've had best time. Thank you for your time.
I'm honored. Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Noka. Please feel free to drop off the call. We've had the best time. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye.
Bye for now. Bye all. Thank you so much.
Okay, ladies, how are you? How was the session? How was the session, everyone? Great session. Awesome. I'm so glad that we've made it up to you because we saw all your feedback from last week's session, and I cannot even apologize enough for last week's session and all the glitches we had, but we've made it up. So we're cool again, right? We're cool again. And we promise to do our best to ensure that subsequent sessions are this interesting and this engaging. Thank you for the wonderful feedback. Please do well to post about this session as usual. Share your learnings. Let your contacts know what you're learning on the program. And of course, I'm not bribing you people. I'm just telling people that we've made it up. We're not owing you again. I know last session was not great, but we've made it up and we'll just try to improve as we go on. So thank you again. And one of the reasons I asked that we all wait on the call, and for the ladies on YouTube, thank you so much. I see you. I see you, ladies. I had to join on 2 devices just to make sure that everything is fine. For the ladies on YouTube, don't worry, I'm seeing all of your comments and I need you to give feedback on this call. So what I wanted us to talk about is, don't worry, we'll reshare the link. Tomide, please try to reshare the link to the facilitators, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So what I wanted us to talk about is the mode of delivery for the soft skill class. So what we had in mind for today was for us to have the leaders, the team leads, or the different country reps on Zoom while we have everyone else on YouTube. The reason is because our Zoom access is limited to 500 starting this week, unfortunately, okay? But we've seen a lot of feedback from you. Some people have even sent messages saying they enjoyed being on Zoom. Others are saying they did not enjoy being on Zoom. Now, so the reason we're having this conversation is for us to just talk through a process that works best. So this is the issue. We can only have 500 people on Zoom going forward. That's from next. The rest of the people will have to be on YouTube. Do you understand? Do you understand my dilemma? Okay, so we are thinking, how about we'll share the Zoom link and the YouTube link in your email. How about we share the Zoom and the YouTube link in your email? That way, okay. That way we can do it on a first come, first serve basis. So if you get on Zoom on time, great. You can join the session from Zoom. If you join late or not early enough, once Zoom gets to 500, you will automatically have to go and join the session from YouTube. What do you ladies think? Please, I need to see the feedback. Okay. Looks like people prefer that. First come, first serve. Great. Okay, that works. Since people even have preferences. You see, Evelyn Atta says she likes YouTube. So Evelyn, you can just click on the YouTube link. People who like YouTube can just click on YouTube. People who want to be on Zoom can click on Zoom. But take note of this. If you're going to be on Zoom, you have to plan to be active, to use the comment section to answer questions, to raise your hand if we need to do that, okay? Yeah, I see some people also like YouTube. Perfect. So we'll just make it open for you. We'll do that next week. So in your email next week, you're going to see 2 links, YouTube and Zoom. First come, first serve on Zoom. Please, I don't want to see anybody dragging us anywhere that they are this. We've made it open now. Please, nobody should drag us in your Teams chats that, oh, you tried to join Zoom on time, you couldn't. It's out of our control for now. If things get better, we'll be able to accommodate everyone on Zoom. But for now, we have to manage it like this. I hope you understand. No dragging. You people have promised me now, no dragging. So please, no dragging. Okay? So we agree next week we're going to have 2 links. First 500 people to be on Zoom works. If you don't make it to Zoom, please, no quarrel. Just go on YouTube. Okay? It's the same session. We'll try to make the experience as wholesome as possible. Okay? Okay, that's sorted. I'm glad we didn't have to fight about this. So the next thing I want to talk about is the assessment questions. We also got feedback that the open-ended nature of the questions were confusing. So let me say this again. You cannot fail the assessment. We just want to know what you know before the training, okay? But your feedback has been taken. We'll try to tell the facilitators to make the questions close-ended, so it can be a yes or no, or questions where you have to just pick options, so you can be done in a minute or 2. We'll try to implement that from the next class. So your feedback has been taken, okay? Also, for the form, people are unable to access the form. I'm not sure why. I saw a comment that said somebody could not access the form because it was on Bitly. I'm not sure why that's a problem. I mean, it would be great to get that feedback now. What specific issues did you have with the form so we can work on it for the next class? What specific questions? So for people that have issues with the form, please, could you just type the specific issue so that we can resolve it before next week? Okay, you don't want the bit.ly link. Perfect. We'll try to share the link that is not shortened next week. I would label it accordingly. I hope that works. So what else? What other issue? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of messages saying they prefer YouTube. Great, we're different. I accept that we're all different. Okay, any other issues, please? I don't want us to quarrel next week. I don't want us to quarrel next week. Any other issues? Some of us that don't know our women's ID. I don't understand. How do you not know your ID? Tomide, please go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, there's a particular question that I just saw. So I mean, I feel like you should just maybe just address it, because there are a couple of issues where people will say, I'm using this particular browser, that if I try to use YouTube, if I leave YouTube, the session is going to disrupt or something. So I mean, I just want to address, like, just make a comment in that regards. So sometimes it's best when you use your your system or your PC to attempt joining the session. So once we share the form or the assessment link with you guys, immediately you click on it, it's automatically to open another tab for you, right? So once it's open another tab for you, it won't disrupt, I mean, the activities or the session that is going on YouTube. So it won't, affect it in any way. So it's more or less like once you click an automatic tab is going to be opening for you to be able to access the form. And that way you can also listen in while the session is also still going on. And if you have issues, maybe it's brought you back a bit. So there's an option on YouTube where you can click on, the live icon. So once you click on the live icon, it's going to keep you up to date or up to speed with, the session, on how the session is still going. Right. So, I mean, I just want to address this. So we can't, like Noka said, so we won't have issues next week where we'll both be fighting and all
We
of
don't
that.
want to fight.
So,
Please.
so these are, I mean, possible ways I feel
If
we
you're
need
not
to,
clear,
make it
you're
much
not
more
clear,
easy
please.
For us to be able to work with. I hope we all get that. We all got that feedback rather.
If it's not clear, please get in our DMs on Teams. We're on Teams. If you are not clear, please get on our DMs so we understand your specific challenge. Okay. Thank you, Tommy, for that feedback. There is a question I wanted to address. I hope I don't miss it. Okay, so this is about the assessment and attendance. Now, what we noticed today is that we had a lot more people fill the assessments, the pre-assessments, than were in class. That means some of you shared with people that are not in class. That is not acceptable. It doesn't make sense that we have 1,500 people filling the assessment and we can't see that number in class. Please don't do that. Don't share the pre-assessment link with people who are not in class. It's not helpful because there's going to be a post-assessment. If you fail the post-assessment and you say you're in class, it's not going to add up. Please, we're going to have post-assessment. I see people asking, we're not going to take the post-assessment today. We've said it before. We're going to have an exam day where you take all your post-assessment questions. It's not going to be today. It's not going to be after every session. That will be communicated to you, but it's not going to be now. The only thing you need to worry about is the pre-assessment. Now, what we've been doing so far is to have the pre-assessment with the attendance. But it looks as if people are not able to access the form, then they can't take attendance, even though they're in class. Right? Again, we will try to ensure that from next week, we share the forms, we share the link that everyone can access. It's not going to be a bit.ly link so that there are no issues. And also try to join the class on time so that you can fill the form. Also, we'll reduce the questions. We'll make it closed-ended. So it's a yes or no, or you just pick your answers. You don't need to type a story there. That'll make you waste time filling out the form. Okay. Another thing is someone asked if we can get the recordings earlier, pretty much. And I saw a few questions asking, if we're going to get the recording of this session. You just aired yourself. It means you have not been following us. You know how we do it. We send the recording of previous sessions in your next invite. So about getting the invites or the recordings on time, we'll try to send it earlier. A lot of times, the reasons we delay is because we're trying to do last-minute conclusions with the facilitators, but we'll try to send them in earlier. So, for example, the session for today, we'll try to send you an invite for the next class by Wednesday. I hope that works. Okay. Please, how do we get the recordings? Helen Chika, I just said it. The recordings for each class is always in the invite for the next class. Okay, so we're not holding the recording. You always get it. Okay, what I'm saying is we try to send the next one earlier, maybe on Wednesday, so you can rewatch the video on time if you want to. Please, is there any other question I've missed? I don't want us to miss any other question. I've responded to the question on getting the recording earlier enough. We'll try to do that on Wednesdays. Anything else? Anything else before we go? I don't want to keep us here longer than 2:30. So we have just 7 more minutes. Anything else? YouTube? Anything else? I saw someone had said that she's not going to pay the $1,500 if if she's unable to fill the attendance while she's in class, don't worry. We're not going to ask you to pay $1,500 or $2,500 simply because you could not access the assessment question for one day. We're not wicked people. Don't worry about it. We'll just try to make things better as we go so that we don't have these issues next week, okay? If you notice, we extended the time for filling the assessment to 1 hour today, 15 minutes to 1 hour. We tried now. Things are getting better. Yeah, I don't want to keep everyone else on the call, but if you have any other specific questions, please stay on the call and we'll resolve it. But if you don't have any other questions, you're free to leave the call. Have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you in class next week, Friday. Thank you so much, ladies. If you don't have any other questions, you're free to drop off the call. Thank you. Okay. I see the question from Jane. Is distracting when you can't fill the form in class and the session is ongoing? Yes. We're trying to ensure that you are able to fill the form in the first 15 minutes next week, which is why we're not going to send you a bit.ly link next week, and we're going to ensure the questions are shorter or straight to the point, close-ended questions. You want the training slides? You want the training slides? We can try to make that available to you as well in the invites. That's a new request. Yes, I think that will be all. That will be all. Thank you, ladies. No more questions. I'm looking at YouTube. Everyone is saying bye, 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 bye. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Yes, I've taken note of the request for the training slides. It's noted. Well noted. Well noted. Yes, we'll send you the slides. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next week on Zoom for those that are going to join the session early, and on YouTube for those who join not so early. Bye. Bye, ladies. Tamide Yinka. Bye.